Hey, this is Thomas from okayitsnotenough.com, helping you become the best version of yourself. And in this video, I want to share with you a few tips on how to make the best first impression. First of all, let's talk about why first impression is even important. It's because when we're meeting someone new, we don't really know anything about them and they don't know anything about us. So in the first few seconds of the interaction, without us even being aware of it, our mind is being really busy trying to evaluate as much as possible about the other person, from their appearance, from their body language, from their facial expressions. We're trying to understand whether we can trust them or not, whether we like them or not, whether they're healthy or not, whether they fit on a social hierarchy. Because having all that information will then help us determine whether we should further engage with them, and if so, then what would be the best way to do that. So if you don't pay attention to the first few seconds of your interaction with other people, there's a good chance that you are miscommunicating important information about yourself, and it's probably undermining or harming your future or further interaction with them. So in this video, I want to share with you the key factors that are affecting the first impression that you're making and how you can make the most out of the first few seconds opportunity. The first thing you want to focus on is your handshake. I've always paid attention to people's handshake because I believe it can say a lot about their character and about the level of self-confidence that they have. The first way people go wrong about handshake is, I call it the dead fish. It's when someone gives you kind of the lousy, sloppy, soft and weak handshake, just like they hand their hand over to you. I must say it's a little bit more common amongst women, and I believe it has to do with them wanting to come across more gentle and feminine, which is fine, but sometimes it's being taken way too extreme. If this is the handshake that you use, that what you want to do is to add a little bit more grip to it. The best guideline I can give you is think of how much pressure or grip you use when you're using a bath sponge, when you're washing yourself. If you don't grab it properly, it will slip out of your hand, but if you just squeeze it too much, then you will end up washing yourself with your fist, which is probably not great. Another way how you can find out the right amount of pressure is just ask a friend and give them a few handshakes and ask them to give you feedback. Is it too much or is it too little? That usually works really well. Another extreme is the hand crusher. When someone is squeezing the hand way too hard. This is much more common amongst men, often misused as a sign of power and dominance, when in fact this can actually make you come across quite insecure and uncalibrated. On top of that, you can actually hurt someone because you don't know, they might have had wrist injury or they suffer with arthritis. So you can cause them a lot of pain, so much for making a great first impression. So pay attention to your handshake. Never give the dead fish, never use the hand crusher. Somewhere in between. Use the right amount of force or squeeze when shaking someone else's hand. If you want a feedback, just ask your friend, give him or her a few handshakes and of different force and ask them what was the most pleasant or what made the best first impression. Another thing to pay attention to about handshakes is what I call the slippery handshake. 5% of the population suffer from hyperhidrosis, aka sweaty palms. Hey, I'm one of them. What that means is that the sweat glands on the palms are super active and it always keeps the palms, it can go from moist to wet. And it can be a really unpleasant experience for someone to, shake your hand and feel the moisture or the wetness of your palm. And a part of the unpleasant experience is that they don't know why your palm is wet and you really don't want them to be wondering about that. While there are various treatments to that, from chemical sprays to even an operation that you can undergo. The easiest thing that you can do before you meet someone new, or before you meet someone you know that you'll be shaking their hands, just pop in the bathroom and wash your hands with warm water and soap, and really wash them thoroughly, because it will degrease your hands and it will keep them dry for quite some time, so you can comfortably go and shake other people's hands without putting them off or making them feel gross because your palm was just wet and slippery. So with all that said, pay attention to your handshake, because the right handshake can help make you come across confident, honest, genuine, sincere, all the good things. Whereas sloppy, the dead fish handshake, can actually make you come across like you don't even want to be there, you don't want to touch the person, you don't trust them. The hand crusher can make you come across insecure or uncalibrated, or just stupidly overpowering. The right amount of pressure will make very fast but lasting, awesome first impression. The second element to making a great first impression is to fully acknowledge the person or the people that you are meeting by a proper eye contact and by a genuine smile. First, about eye contact. I meet a lot of people, and I also love to watch people. And what I've noticed that many people barely glance at each other when they're meeting. If this is something that you do, it can actually make you come across as insecure and disinterested. And that's not something that you want. So when you meet someone new, make sure that you give them a good eye contact. Just hold the eye contact for a few seconds. Now, when I say good eye contact, I don't mean you to stare at them for 30 seconds like a freak that would scare someone away. But just a few seconds, genuine eye contact. When you meet someone, say, "Hey John, great to meet you, I've been looking forward to this." That's enough, 3 to 5 seconds while you introducing yourself or while you shaking their hand. It's really important. Next is smile. Smile is extremely important and powerful part of our nonverbal communication, because it says, hey, I'm happy, I'm friendly, I'm comfortable, I'm not a threat. And these are all great things to communicate about yourself. And when you smile, it actually makes people like you and trust you. So practice your smile. Everyone's smile is beautiful. And when I say smile, I mean a nice, gentle smile. Just don't grin like a chimpanzee. That would just scare people away. So practice nice, genuine, gentle smile, because you will then memorize how it feels and you can use it whenever you need to. The third element of making a great first impression is the tone of your voice. Many people have the bad habit of using very breathy, whispery, monotonous voice without energy and passion. This can actually come across as a lack of certainty, confidence, and interest. So don't be afraid to use your voice fully in its full richness, energy, and resonance. The fourth element to making a great first impression is to dress appropriately. You're probably meeting people in a variety of social situations, and every one of those situations has a different etiquette or an expectation what the right dress code is. Now, my tip for you is to always overdress by 10 to 20%, because it's always better to be the best dressed person in the room than the worst dressed person in the room. And if you're unsure about what the right dress code is for that situation, firstly, you can always look it up on Google. These days you can find everything there, a lot of recommendations and tips, or talk to someone who is also going to that situation or who's been in a similar situation. They'll probably give you a good idea of how to dress properly for the occasion. But remember, always, always overdress slightly. That's the safest way to go about it. And the fifth part to making a great first impression is hygiene and grooming. And I can't even believe that I have to talk about this, but clearly not everyone is aware of it or is paying attention to it as much as they should. First, nails. And this one is specifically addressed to men because ladies usually take much better care of their nails than guys do. Guys, always, always, always have short and clean nails. Because if you go on a date, a job interview or a meeting and you have gross, long, dirty nails, trust me, you may not be invited again. Because think about it this way. Everything about you, the way you carry yourself, the way you look after yourself, is saying something about your character, your personality, your habits, your standards. This is the impression dirty nails can actually make. Next is body odor. And hey, the truth is that we don't always smell ourselves because it's our body smell and we are used to it. So with that in mind, don't wait for the moment when you smell yourself and you actually think, hey, maybe I should use a deodorant. Always, always, always use deodorant. Use it straight after showering. And if you're very active or if you sweat a lot, use it several times a day. It's so simple. You just go and that's taken care of. On top of that, use colognes, use perfumes. We have endless opportunity of all these amazing perfumes that are out there. Find one that projects about your personality. Find one that is right for the occasion and use it. Use it with caution. You don't want to use so-called gypsy shower where you try to overpower your bad body odor. That's not the solution. But always use deodorants and whenever you can, use perfumes. Another part of smelling great is to always wear clean clothes. This is my tip for you. Never wear the inner layer of your clothes more than once without washing. By that I mean t-shirts, shirts, socks and underwear. I hope that's not anything new to you. But what people do, they often wear the tops, shirts and t-shirts more than once. And again, keep in mind that you don't smell your own body odor. And if you wear it more than once, it most likely smells a bit. So pay attention to your body odor. Always smell great. Always use deodorants, perfumes. Always wear clean clothes. It's such a great experience when you're meeting someone, whether new or someone you know already, and they smell pleasant. It's so nice, right? When they smell clean. On the contrary, when you're meeting someone and they smell of damp clothes or sweat or cigarettes or food, that's not a great experience. And it can really impact the first impression that you're making if you're meeting someone for the first time. And a final part is grooming. This is more for men. So guys, always make sure that your hair and your facial hair, if you have any, always looks groomed and intentional. For your hair on your head, hey, use waxes, use gels, style it up a little bit. It will make you look fresher and younger. And get regular haircuts. I would suggest, once a month, minimum once every 2 months, because, the hair grows and after the haircut, you just look neat and you look sharper. And it's always great, especially for the first impression. Women, they usually pay a lot more attention to their hair. They get regular haircuts. They use all these products on their hair because they understand this. It's us guys who tend to neglect these bits. Hey, so this is it. But before you go, I have a question for you. Which one of those elements do you usually notice people doing wrong? Is it the handshake? Is it the acknowledgement, the eye contact, smile? Is it the personal hygiene? I'm curious what you usually notice about people either probably doing wrong or what you notice that they did right and really made a great impression on you. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe. Hit that little subscribe button down there so you get an update when I release the next video. And there is so much more of great stuff coming. Thank you for watching. It's been great. I really appreciate you. And I hope to see you on the next video.